That was still one of the top 10 shows I've ever seen. That was such a, well, you know, what do you need to say about the Ramones?
I would just like to comment on the Ramones. This is Greg Donovan speaking. The Ramones. Yes, we're gonna get a few random comments on what they thought. People thought of the Ramones.
Garbage I've seen in about 12 years.
Greg's old lady's tougher than them.
I want to know how come four guys from Queens talk with English accents.
I thought, you know, musically they were pretty terrible. I mean, I don't think he played anything other than major chords, Johnny. There was no solos to speak of, and of course we were coming from a band that had one of the great guitar players, Gino Scarpelli, at the time. So, you know, when you got a guy like that you're working with, and then you see this guy and they're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's just like minimal chords and stuff. It wasn't until maybe 20 years after the fact that I realized that this was a very, very highly innovative band, and they didn't need guitar solos. Those 1 minute and 30-second songs that they did were small pop or punk or whatever you want to call it, you know, masterpieces. They did something that nobody else had ever done.
It's interesting, people who had that initial reaction sometimes turn out to be our biggest fans. And I understand that. In other words, something overwhelms them, and either it scares them or whatever, and then they go back home and they start thinking about it. And all of a sudden they go, wait, man, that was pretty interesting now that I think about it.
I mean, they were just so good.
Yeah.
And so powerful. And it seemed like after that, all the you know, bands just started to sprout up. Some were good, some were bad.
Well, we've come to realize that every time we came to a town, that after we left, all these bands would form. I understand how that happens, because what we were doing basically was giving permission for all kinds of people to pick up instruments and do it. Somebody who was, let's say, basically good at drawing or writing could pick up an instrument and realize they could create like really interesting music even without being a virtuoso musician. But the first time I came to Toronto was with the Ramones.
So what was that like?
Oh, we liked it very much. We stayed at a really great hotel, which to us was kind of luxurious. It was the Chelsea at the time. I think it's still around.
Yeah.
But at the time it was a new hotel, so that was kind of nice. And we enjoyed playing the New Yorker, and it was great. And Gary Topp, who was the promoter, brought us over. It was really nice and very excited and everything. And so we always looked forward to coming to Toronto, you know, and doing the shows. And we did a lot of shows. I mean, I was with them, and I'm sure they did a lot more after I left. I know a lot of people my age and older who are still into like horror things. You know, where I was very much into it until I was like 11.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas other people are very much still into that. And it's the same with music. I mean, some people fall in love with a genre when they're 18, and they can be 85 and still that's their genre. And to listen to or play or enjoy, it depends on the person. There's no age limit to it, no.